Okay, so I had just got off my shift at the nursing home and I got off around 10, so I probably got back to our trailer at 10:30 and it was so cold. I want to say it was 47 degrees.
Inside the trailer.
Inside the trailer, 47 degrees. And I didn't notice it at first. I guess it was so cold, and when I came in, it was cold, but I had showered, and when I got out of the shower, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is abnormally freezing cold temperatures." And I went and looked at the thermostat, and I swear I remember it being 47 degrees.
That's probably right. It was a really cold December.
Yes.
And the heater stopped working. And I think, did you call me? I think you called me
Yeah,
and
I
told
did.
me.
I was
So
like,
I was working seasonal work at the time at Target
Yeah.
during their Christmas season.
yeah,
And then I left Target and went to Walmart
yeah,
and bought some space heaters to get us through.
yeah.
And that's what we did. And we ran those space heaters for a while.
It was freezing cold, and like, don't forget that we had like a hole under our trailer that you can access from like the outside.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? A huge hole that was in our bathroom?
Right.
So, I mean, just freezing air is coming in, and like our windows wouldn't close, like the one in the dining room, it wouldn't close all the way. And
Yeah.
like, it was just freezing cold.
And then the pipes froze.
And the pipes froze, of
And
course.
so you couldn't take a hot shower.
So we didn't have a heater, we didn't have hot water. And in order to take a hot shower, we would boil water. Like, you would boil pots of water for me and then let them cool down and then pour it over me in the shower. And that's how we would shower.
Some good improvising. We did what we had to do.
Yes.
Ran the oven, boiled water, got some space heaters to get us by on a limited budget, very limited budget. But how happy were we?
We were very happy.
We were over the moon.
We were. We were on our own. Well, I was always very independent. And I was 19 and you were 20 when we got married. And I remember doing all of this without crying home to our parents. We never did that.
Right.
We were always 100% on our own. Just like the one time, like, I remember us not being able to afford groceries, so we had to leave our cart. And never once were we like crying and saying, "Oh, please, someone help us with groceries," which was, people do that and that's totally fine. But we were just so independent and we were just so proud to be on our own that we were just like, this is fun.
Exactly.
This
it was
is
fun.
okay.
Not only was it fun, we felt like we were living the life.
Yeah.
We were just so happy to have our own trailer, to be in what we thought was the greatest, still do, but it, definitely thought we were in the greatest city.
Like the big
that you
city.
could live in. Morgantown, West Virginia.
Yeah.
How awesome was it to be in Morgantown in our own trailer, and we're living life, and we're not going to let things like heaters or hot water or groceries slow us down. We were over the moon. We were excited. We were newlyweds. We were on our own, and we were making it.
And not only that, I had just had surgery on my foot in November. So I was also...
You were crippled. That's right.
Going on.
You were on a crutch. You were walking around on crutches, right?
Yes, I was on crutches.
Yeah. But we were living our best life.
Yeah, we really were.
Well, guys, welcome to Almost Heaven, Always Us. I'm Corey.
I'm Kelsey.
And today we are doing our West Virginia story. We are talking about where we came from and where all we've gone in between, where we ended up, and how we ended up doing a podcast about West Virginia. If you didn't know, I'm sure you already know, this podcast is a love letter to West Virginia. We want every episode to be a love letter to West Virginia. We love West Virginia. We've always loved West Virginia. And this is kind of just a story about us today and how we ended up doing this podcast and how we ended up where we are.
Yeah.
But before we were in Morgantown, way back in the day, we started out a little bit smaller. We're from Grant County. I personally was up the Pike, the Franklin Pike. So I was just about a minute from the Pendleton County line. Between Franklin and Petersburg.
Yeah.
You were on pretty much the other side of the county.
Close to Mineral County and Scherr. So it would be like Maysville, Scherr, and then Kaiser, which is right at the beginning of Mineral County.
And how far were you from the county line?
I don't know. It was 20 minutes to Walmart. To the Kaiser Walmart, so I don't know.
20
Very
minutes.
Close. I guess it would probably be as close to Mineral County as it would have been to you to Pendleton County.
No, I was 1 mile from Pendleton.
Oh, that's true. So,
but maybe Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
How did it feel growing up in a small place like that, Scherr?
I really liked it. I thought Petersburg was really weird. I think I've said before on this podcast that we never went, like, we went into Petersburg sometimes for like church on Sundays, and my great grandma lives there. But other than that, we would do all of our shopping like in Cumberland and like go to Kaiser for like Walmart and stuff. And then my grandma that I would always stay with was in Maysville. So going to Petersburg, I felt like Petersburg people were a lot different than us. And our Maysville school was so tiny compared to Petersburg. That was so big. So we just like only knew so many people. So when we went to high school and we were all merged together, it's like, oh my gosh, man, this.
What a culture shock. They took all these little elementary schools that were their own little bubbles and just shoved them all
And
together.
poor Dorcas, they were even smaller than us, but
said learn to get along.
Yeah, they said learn to get along with these weird Petersburg people, because we were just trying, like, run full. I don't know what Petersburg kids did, but that's what we did. We were more like country kids.
Yeah, but no, you don't get confused. Just because a lot of kids went to Petersburg Elementary didn't mean they were from the town. Very few people were from town.
Some were in Seneca.
Not townies.
Right.
Like even me. I mean, I was up the pike, so it's not like I was walking the streets of Petersburg.
Yes, you were.
Well, when I was a teenager. But I'm talking about growing up.
Yeah.
We were secluded as well. I mean, I was at the Fennel County line. There's nothing up there either. So it was the same deal. We were riding four-wheelers. We were country too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Don't paint me out to be a townie just because I went to Petersburg Elementary.
Kids were town kids.
I don't know about that.
That's how it felt to me.
That's how it felt to you guys, because you guys, you know, like you said, you would on Sundays you would load up the buggy and attach the horse, and you'd ride into church for your weekly trip into town, get a couple sacks of feed for the animals, put them back in the wagon, and pull them back out to shear.
We would have to get sacks of feed for animals because we always had a lot of animals.
So I wasn't too far off. Yeah. Did you really realize where you were at growing up? You think like you were like, this is West Virginia in comparison to the rest of the nation? You kind of understood where you were
probably
at.
not until like later. I feel like my best friend Shayna Shell, who lived just 1 minute down the road from me, also in Scherr, like we have talked even recently that how we grew up in like our house and like how our families ran and just like how we socialized with people in our area. That's how we thought everything was.
Mm-hmm.
So probably not until like later on. I was exposed to a lot of things once I got to 7th and 8th grade that I'd never even heard of before. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is real life. So I was probably very sheltered, like maybe socially a little bit and environmentally and all of that until like 7th grade.
That's probably a pretty common story for most people, most kids. They probably think this is how life is.
Yeah.
So then whenever you go to high school and you kind of got around some new people because they put us all together, other than Union. Mm-hmm. Union is in Gray County and they do their own thing.
Yeah.
They got their own elementary school and high school because they have to, because they're on Mount Storm.
Yeah, same one, K through 12.
And then they brought in kids from Potomac County too, over from Circleville. Mm-hmm. When that school shut down, and they bussed them all the way from Circleville, which was a pretty good drive to Petersburg. Sad. So we had a lot of friends from Potomac County.
Yeah.
That went to Petersburg High School with us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you had a whole bunch of people coming together, and you're getting to see a whole lot of other kids. Yeah. That's kind of how we met.
It was.
I suppose.
It was.
Yeah, I met you in civics class.
Yeah.
The first memory I have of you fell asleep in class. You must have been staying up late.
Well, I was traveling a lot for basketball or volleyball at the time. I'm sure it was basketball because it was the beginning of school, right?
Probably.
No, it would have been volleyball then. Yeah. We were just traveling all over, you know, and so I was always tired.
So you needed a little nap. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
You still do to this day. Some things never change. Right? You still love your naps.
Sometimes. I don't get them that often, but I will take them if I have to.
And the teacher walked over and he kind of smacked the desk.
Yeah. Scared
to wake you up. That was my first memory of you.
Yeah.
Was you sleeping? I never noticed you until he slammed the desk and you woke up.
And you were immediately like, oh.
That sleeping beauty, she's mine.
Oh my gosh.
Just waiting for her prince to come wake her up. So we go through high school, and then I am one grade older than you, so I had to leave first. So where do I end up going? Mineral County, Kaiser, Potomac State. So everything kind of lined up with WVU as far as the class titles, the numbers, and everything like that. So it's kind of like a mini WVU, it felt like. And it had a pretty vibrant campus scene.
Did it?
Yeah. They had the dorms and stuff. And I didn't live on the dorms. I lived right off the dorms, right off the campus. I had a little apartment just within walking distance, so I would walk to school my first year there.
Yeah.
And so that was my first time trying to make it on my own outside of the house. I'm only an hour away, basically, from my house.
Neither one of us have ever lived with a roommate.
Yeah, like no roommate. No. I wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
And it was a tiny little apartment, tiny little thing. But
That's
I really
all you
enjoyed
needed.
it. That's all I needed.
Yeah, and, only needed just room for yourself.
And I still wasn't very far from you. Still was like a half hour from you. I was about the same distance from you as I was from my house.
Yeah.
Was from you growing up. So worked out pretty good. So did that for like a year, and then I moved back in for a year.
Why do you think you did that? You just didn't want to do...
I just did I started driving it because it wasn't a bad drive.
Yeah.
From Petersburg to Kaiser's not a bad drive.
Saving money, really.
And, that was the intent. I was like, I can save some money here.
Because we're about to get married soon.
And I think that I scheduled my classes I don't think I had classes every day. Like I tried to have long days where I would only have to drive like 3 days a week.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then the other 2 days I was basically could work in town or whatever. Yeah. And then we were getting married. That was the plan. So I was trying to save up some money to get married because once we got married, we didn't waste any time. Yeah. We got married in the summer and we immediately moved to Morgantown and we got our own trailer. And we were on our own at that point. We were 19 and 20 and we were just doing our own thing. We were taking care of ourselves. We were independent.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of people didn't think we'd make it, did they?
More people were doubting us than were for us, for sure.
They were like, you're way too young, 19 and 20. And you're going into the Lion's Den. You're going into Morgantown. You're going into the #1 party school, WVU.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it.
Yeah. And you were going to school and I was working and it's like, it is very hard being married.
The odds were against us.
The odds were very much against us. And sometimes when we were like, really like, we hated each other, I was like, I'm not going to get a divorce just to spite these people.
How did we even end up in Morgantown?
Well, I think it was never spoken really out loud, like, oh, should I go to WV or anything? Like, I think whenever we met, you had probably been talking about going. So I just was like, well, we're eventually going to go there. So whenever we got married, I wanted to move away. And then you just wanted to go, and that was the perfect time to go.
Yeah, that's right. I don't remember ever really talking about it.
To just kind of starting
it was just an assumed
new
thing.
Life.
It's like, for me, it was just always an assumed thing. Like, after high school, you go to WVU. That's what you do.
because you had always wanted to go to WVU, but I don't think you wanted to like leave me like that.
Yeah,
because you still wanted to see me like all the time because we're so obsessed with each other.
Right.
Still are. Right.
So Kaiser was like a launching pad. It's like you dip your toes in a little bit, and then you go and get your full experience at WVU. Now for me, this is how I kind of picked WVU. So my sister's 8 years older than me. My brother-in-law's 9 years older than me. They got married really young too. I think they were like 20.
Yeah, 20 and 21, I think.
And they came to WVU. And even though they were a good bit older than me, I was pretty close with them. Not so much like we were friends. It was more like they were almost like caretakers because they were, 9 years older than me. So they were very mature too for their age. They were very mature. So even though they were only like 20, 21 when they come out here to WVU, they took me under their wing. I'd come spend a lot of summers time with them, and even sometimes during school. I remember taking off a week of school one time and missing a week worth of work and coming and hanging out with them because my mom had to go somewhere or something.
Like as a kid?
Yeah. And so I was in 5th grade and I missed a week of class.
Oh my God.
And I had to make it up. And then what I did was I came out here and I went with them to class. So I went to WVU classes. I was in 5th grade. And so I got to see what it was like. We were downtown and we were in classes. It was pretty cool. Funny. I was like, this is the life right here. But I tell you what, I fell in love with Morgantown. Absolutely fell in love with Morgantown. And this would have been 20 years ago. This was before the town center. This was before
Suncrest Town Center.
Suncrest Town Center.
That wasn't there when we moved here.
University Town Center. This was, there wasn't near as much as there is now. There's a whole lot of stuff here that wasn't here. I think they don't even think they had. Did they have they had one Walmart, not two, but it was not as good. Yeah, it was in a different location. Wasn't it the old mall?
Yeah, by the old mall.
And then they did shopping at Kroger. But I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I came out here. They took me to a football game in the student section. I went in the student section, and I'm probably 13, and I'm in the student section. And
it's a wild time.
But it was a crazy environment. Student section.
Were you nervous? Do you think?
I think so. Because I was 13, I was not exposed to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was wild. It was very wild. Yeah. And so my little baby eyes and ears had never heard and seen this type of debauchery before. But I was like, this is awesome. The whole thing, Morgantown to me with them, the whole thing felt like alive. I was like the vibe. And I'm like, this is action. Yeah. Like this is where the action's taking place, whatever that action is. Sometimes there was games that we didn't go to, but you could go out on their porch and hear people cheer at the end of the game, like, yeah, we won. You could hear the country road.
Yeah.
And
they were in a trailer too, right?
Yeah, they were in a trailer park, and so that felt cool to me because I was like, a lot of their friends had trailers in the park, so they go to their friend's house, and I go with them, obviously, and so we were all just hanging out, and I was like, everybody's here, everybody lives in Morgantown. This is the place to be. I went to classes with them. The classes were cool. Their friends in class, their classmates thought it was cool that they brought me, so that everybody was like talking to me and, what's up, little man? And so I was like, this is a place to be. And they had a job on campus together. They both worked together, and it was a computer lab, and so I'd go with them in the computer lab and sit on the computer or whatever. But I was like, this is what you do for a job? You get paid to sit on a computer? This is amazing. Everything about it was amazing. Their trailer park had a pool. I was like, how cool
their
is
trailer
that?
park had a pool?
I was like,
I didn't know
we
that.
went swimming. We went swimming. It was amazing.
Was it like in-ground? Wow.
It was pretty nice.
All right.
It was a nice pool. Yeah, and I was just instantly in love with Morgantown. And then there was no doubt for me, this is where I'm going to end up. I love this place. Can't wait to get back. So we did. We ended up in Morgantown, and we followed in their footsteps. We got a trailer. And we had a little bit of...
We lived in an interesting trailer setup, though. It wasn't in a trailer park at all. It was like out of town a lot. And then there was only 6 other trailers, and it was just kind of like almost a U shape. And we were on the end, and we had like the big yard.
Yeah, 6 counting us.
Yeah, 6 counting us.
We were the 6th trailer.
And we had like a really big yard, and I think we had like a little outbuilding, but we never used it. I'm pretty sure we had one, but it was like really cool. I was like,
we put in a lot of work.
We had a porch built on.
Yeah.
A covered porch.
Right. Yep. And we're like,
we had a dog. One of our neighbors tried to steal our dog. or it did until I was like,
have you seen our dog? And they're like, oh yeah, it just showed up here. Right. Met some interesting people.
Yeah.
One guy tried to get me to drop out. He was like, you don't need to go to college. You can come work with me, and we can mow grass.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I'll give you a good cut of the money. I didn't end up doing it. But
he was always mowing his grass, I feel like.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be his business, but
he was, maybe it was
he just did his
grass.
Own. Like he was paying himself somehow. I don't know. He had something worked out.
Maybe he was trying to get you to mow his grass, and that was the business.
And that was, there you go. You figured it out. Yeah, so that was awesome. I didn't feel like I really got like a lot of the people's experience that they get at college because we didn't do the dorms. I was married, so that kept me out of a lot of trouble. If I wasn't married, I would have gotten a lot more trouble. Let's just be honest. I'd have gotten a lot more trouble if I wasn't married. Because I was married, I would come home.
That's the only reason? You didn't have any morals? You didn't have any good upbringing?
I'm just saying that when you're in college, the #1 party school, things get wild. I didn't get wild because I was married. If I wasn't married, I'd probably be a little bit more inclined to do wild things.
Words are going to be said off camera later, but I'll tell you that right now.
What do you think I'm even saying? You're implying too much here.
All I'm
saying is a lot of people that come through WVU have a certain experience. I didn't necessarily have that experience. That's all I'm saying. Just letting everybody know.
Because we were good.
We didn't have that experience that a lot of people have.
Well, you're welcome.
Right. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out there. I'm just putting it out there that we didn't really get that experience.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens? I'm almost ready to graduate. The summer before, I get an internship in Huntington. So we go down to Huntington for a summer. We still have our trailer in Morgantown.
My brother is living with us, by the way.
And your brother holds down the fort while we go to Huntington. We spend a summer in Huntington. What's that summer like?
That summer was weird.
It was weird.
Least. We lived with a cousin of a relative.
Yeah.
And in her house, so I think it was like $100 a week, which at the time I was like, oh my gosh, this is outrageous, but I guess fair.
Was it $100
a week? $100 a week.
Okay.
And we couldn't have our dog, so my parents had to keep our dog the entire summer, which was a lot. And we were trying to have fun with it. I felt like we were always out doing something because we didn't want to be there. Like we had one room in there.
Well, I think we just kind of felt awkward.
It was awkward.
Because, we were living in somebody's house.
Yeah, you're living in somebody else's house. So we were I don't even remember like making meals there, keeping things in the fridge there.
Right.
I think we just wanted to be out.
And we were only there for short term. We were just there for the summer.
Like 3 months.
We couldn't make it home or anything. We couldn't make it our own. We couldn't make it our home. So we just kind of lived as if we were almost living in a hotel, kind of, really.
Yeah, so we just had like one room, and then we would just go out to like Max and Irma's.
I love
What
Max
were
and
some other
Irma's.
places? That was our favorite place, but there was another place right there. It was Roosters, but we didn't
Roosters,
really
yeah.
go there ever. We went there once.
Yeah,
Where
that was
else
at
did we
Pullman
go?
Square.
Like, yeah, Pullman Square. That's a really
Yeah.
pretty place if you're ever down there.
Yeah. Was it
What were
Uno's
some
that was
other
down
things that
there?
we liked to do? Was it just Max and Irma's?
It was. We did it a lot.
Fazoli's.
Fazoli's. All right, sorry about that. Our camera died, but we're back, and we were talking about Fazoli's, the best spaghetti you could get.
Debatable.
Oh no, it was not debatable. You got spaghetti with a slice of pizza.
The bread
spaghetti
was
with
good.
a slice of pizza and a breadstick.
The bread
Two
was
breadsticks,
really
I think.
good. Was it unlimited?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really bad. We would go there a lot. It was very close to where you were working.
Well, all right, yeah. So hold on. So we did the summer there.
Yes.
Then we came back to Morgantown and finished for like a half a year in Morgantown. Sold our trailer, moved to Huntington full time to start a job there.
So I think a big reason why we were really wanting to go to Huntington, the steel mill, it really seemed like you were going to be working a normal day shift hour. Like that's how it was going to be.
Right.
So it's like,
that's how it was during the internship.
It's going to be really cool, and nothing else was really said about it.
Yeah.
So when we moved back and you go to work, you come home in the evening like freaking devastated. Like, our new life is going to be what, 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. Like, that was your work schedule.
That was my shift, yeah.
Like 4 days in a row, right? And you worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
I got off Sunday, at some point Sunday, like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I was off until Wednesday.
Okay, so it was like
I would
Thursday
go in Wednesday at noon.
Okay, so that was really sad, and we both like literally cried over that because I was like, oh my gosh, we moved here, we don't know anybody, it's just us and our dog.
Right. And I like the place that I worked for, but I did not know that.
It felt like we were tricked a little bit.
That wasn't how the internship was, and I did not know that coming back down. So we got us a place and everything, and then it was kind of presented to me when I signed on full time, like, oh, here's your shift.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man.
It was really bad. But you worked deep all the way on the other side of Huntington. We lived in Barbersville, which was a very nice, quiet area. I did like our neighborhood. We rented a really nice house. I was like, man, we are freaking living this up. We are doing so good. Going from the trailer to this, and we thought we were really living in the trailer. Now we're in this house with our dog, and we have a cat at this point now too, a little kitten. So I didn't work for a while. And then where did I go? Piercing Pagoda, right? That was my only job. No, it wasn't my only job, but that was my first job.
You worked at Kohl's in the summer.
Yeah, in the summer I worked at Kohl's. And then I went and worked at Piercing Pagoda. And don't give me hate for that because everybody hates Piercing Pagoda.
Do they?
They're like, you should never go get your ears pierced by guns, which I don't freaking care. I do not give a crap.
I don't know anything about
You're supposed to go to a tattoo place because people will start saying, I guarantee you, if I hadn't have said, like, don't hate on me for Piercing Pagoda, people would be in the comments right now, I can't believe you
think it's that controversial?
Yes. If you're in, like, the women world and you're looking at, like, piercings and stuff, that is a thing. And I would be heckled.
Okay.
Whenever we would be piercing babies' ears, and people would be telling us we should be ashamed of ourselves.
Well, maybe you should.
I'm like, I'm just trying to make a living. All I can afford. I was right across from Auntie Anne's.
There you go.
And that was what I would eat for dinner. Until someone I worked with came in our little booth with Chick-fil-A, and I was like, what's Chick-fil-A? And they were like, you've never had Chick-fil-A before?
That was the beginning of the Chick-fil-A.
And that was the beginning of the Chick-fil-A. And they were like, you need to get a chicken sandwich. And I was like,
and then I remember you telling me, you're like, you got to come try this Chick-fil-A. And I was like,
nah. But like, you know how like when you try something or you see something amazing for the first time, it's like, and you're like seeing stars. That's what it was like trying that Chick-fil-A sandwich.
So you made me try it. And then the rest is history. Now Chick-fil-A is weekly rotation for
and
us.
Auntie Anne's was like, well, we haven't been over here for a pretzel. And I'm like, man.
I thought we had something, she said. Annie, she was disappointed.
It was me being friends with the Auntie Anne's people and the Hot Topic people. That was my social life.
Right. So the days that I worked, we didn't really see each other because I would sleep in, you would go to work, then I would wake up and go to work, and then you would come home. So we really weren't together other than just sleeping. But then the 3 days we were off, I was off 3 days. We lived it up. Those were the best 3 days. We would watch a movie every week.
Oh my
we went to the movie theater, the Huntington Mall once a week, and and we would just do whatever we want to do.
Mhm.
The parks were really nice down there. This
Mhm.
summer we were there. We loved Ritter Park. That summer
Yeah,
we were at
it
Ritter
was
Park
really
like every
nice.
day.
Yeah.
We loved Ritter Park. And then we went to Barbersville Park with
Mhm.
our dog the second time we were
Yeah.
down there. And we had a lot of fun
Mhm.
doing that.
We would binge watch stuff.
Yeah.
Prison Break.
Like
Watch
late
that
at
in like
night
3 days.
because I was so off schedule that we would
Oh
stay
my
up and
gosh.
just watch stuff till like
Yeah.
3 in the morning because
Yeah.
I was used to staying up till 3 in the
I
morning.
would remember like you coming home and then you wouldn't go like right to sleep and I would be awake and we would just watch it until like the sun would be coming up literally.
Yeah.
Like we should sleep.
Right.
And then go to the movies here in a little bit.
You can sleep when you're dead.
Then get Max and Nervous.
Right? We had TV to watch.
Yeah. We were young.
So I like the company and everything. I like the job.
Yeah.
But I didn't love the shift. So I was always looking. I was looking for an opportunity to
Mhm.
advance in my career.
Yeah.
So basically, I put out a statewide search. We didn't have roots really anywhere at that point in time. We had never made roots, and I don't think we were necessarily opposed to Petersburg.
With your job.
With my job,
we
weren't able. But
Mhm.
basically, we said anywhere in West Virginia that can offer a good engineering job, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it out statewide, was just kind of watching, and then I saw a job come across from Morgantown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right up my alley. It was exactly the job I was looking for. The description, the experience, everything was like, this is the job for you. And I told you about it, and I was like, what do you think? And like, it's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we came back and we did the interview and everything. It was kind of a process. I feel like it was like about a 2-month process because they kind of gave me an offer, but it was kind of low. And I was like, I don't know, it's a little low. And then they came back and like, what if we make it a little bit higher?
What about if we throw in a company car? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
So we ended up coming back to Morgantown. And I don't know about you, but I thought, we'll pick up right where we left off. It's been a couple years, but we'll basically just pick up where we left off. We already know everybody there.
Yeah.
That was not the experience, in my opinion.
No.
Because everybody that we knew from college left. Because that's how Morgantown is. A lot of people come to college.
Except for my best friend was still
and then they leave.
That's still here.
That's how Morgantown works.
Yeah.
In general, people come and go a lot. Still to this day, even as adults, we see that it's a very transient place. Yeah. People come and go a lot. And so basically we were started over is the moral of the story. It had been 2 years. We're basically starting over. Except for your friend's still here, Sheena. Was still here. So she was about our only anchor still here in Morgantown. And so it took us a while. We were in a townhouse and we had a little bit of a rough experience there.
I was pregnant. We got pregnant in Barbersville. We got pregnant. We moved during that pregnancy into a townhouse. It was a terrible experience. I was there by myself because it was toward the end of my pregnancy and I was like, I don't need to work. I'll just be pregnant.
Oh, wow.
But I was just there and it was so loud. It was a famous person.
We can't say names.
We can't say who it is.
But it was a name you would definitely know.
A famous person.
If you are a WVU fan, you would know who this person was. It was a former player, and that's all I'll say. I won't even say the sport. A former player who ended up getting into a little bit of trouble.
Yes.
And that's all I'll say about it.
And it was loud.
They're directly beside us.
It was very loud. There was always like fancy black sports cars with California tags, Florida tags, New York tags.
Very expensive vehicles.
Yes.
This person went on to be a professional sports player and had a good chunk of money from what we could tell. So why they ended up plopping down in a townhouse?
I don't know if it was like a seasonal place to come back and hang out, but someone
a very modest townhouse right beside us
all the time,
and then had like Lexus and all these fancy cars, and it's like,
yeah, it was very strange.
Why are you here?
I went to complain, and I don't think we knew at the time, but we were like,
know.
Something's going on, like drug deals are happening, 100% drug deals were happening. The ducts or ventilation was connected, and our house always smelled like weed, like so bad, like weed. And we don't smoke weed. And no hate if you do smoke weed, I guess, but I don't want to be smelling weed. I'm pregnant and I'm like, I have to bring a baby into this freaking townhouse where I know that there's drug deals going. It smells like weed all the time. There was like one section by my fridge, like between the wall and the fridge, that I would sit in and just cry because I'd be like, I'm bringing my baby into this house and it's a freaking nightmare.
So I think the deal breaker is when the cops showed up and we seen the cops outside, and I called the landlord and I'm like, hey man, is there anything you can do? And he said, you know what? I'm going to sell the townhouse because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You guys are free to go, and I'm getting rid of this
I
thing.
know.
And he did.
Yeah, because I think we might have been there just at 6 months.
Yeah, we weren't even
And,
close to our
like,
lease. And he
but
was
how
like,
I found out who it was, I went to their neighbor on the other side of them and was like, "Do you guys have this problem?" And they're like, "Yeah, but there's nothing you can do. Do you know who lives there?" And I was like, "No." And they told me, and they were like, "You're not getting anywhere with that." He's like, "You might as well freaking move out because
Yep.
they are not going to
And
evict
so
that
that's
person."
what we did.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a nightmare." So we did, but thankfully, yeah, they let us go. They're
Yeah.
like, "That sounds like a nightmare. Just
And then we
leave."
moved into this house that we are sitting in right now. And we have been here for 10 years, 11.
Almost 11. 11 in what, January?
And yeah, the rest is history. But we had no, so we went from no roots coming back. And like we said, we didn't even care really where we ended up, but we came back to Morgantown. And then this time we really got rooted. And how did that happen?
I really feel like through church, honestly. Like without church, like that is our family out here. I think that you have to have some type of like family wherever you're at, or you're just not going to make it.
Yeah.
And without our church, I don't think we could have made it to help us, support us individually who love our children and help take care of our children. Like it's just, that's what it is.
It takes a community.
I don't want, one reason, like there's a ton of reasons why I don't want to leave Morgantown, but one of like the top 3, maybe top 2 reason is I don't see myself ever leaving our church. Like you would have to like literally like be prying me away.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
What more can you say?
What more can you say?
I could go on and on about our church, but
it's a great way to have community when you're not from a place. And so what we ended up finding at our church was that nobody was from this place. Yeah. Basically, everybody that goes to our church is from somewhere else. There's a few, just a very few from Morgantown.
And we're always impressed.
And I think that's in general. Yeah, I'm always impressed when I meet someone who's like, I was born and raised in Morgantown. I'm like, get out of here. That's so rare.
Yeah.
Everybody's from somewhere. And that's kind of what I like about Morgantown. It's pretty cool. Because everybody has their stories that they bring. We know a lot of people from all over parts of West Virginia, but they ended up here.
Yeah.
And we've met so many people in Morgantown, even through our kids' schools, just talking to people, and they're from all over the state, and sometimes out of state, but they wanted to be part of West Virginia. They came here to Morgantown to be part of West Virginia. And I think that's so cool to have that, because everybody still has that love for their home that comes here when they talk about their home county.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we always did. That's the point I'm getting at. Everybody would talk about their home county. I'm from here, and this is what I loved about it. And then we would do the same thing. You know, we're from Grant County. Here's what we love. You know, Petersburg, I'd love to show you over there, or take you over to Pendleton County, Seneca Rocks, things like that, which is what I do now. I take men to Seneca Rocks through church, men's group, once a year.
Yeah.
And show off Seneca Rocks. Because I consider that my home, too, Pendleton County. And that's where a lot of my family's from, Pendleton County. And, yeah, so that's what I always thought was cool. And then when we would meet people from outside of the state, we would kind of feel like ambassadors of the state. Because they would ask us, what's the state about, you know, tell us stuff.
Let's tell you.
And so we were like, all right, I'll tell you. I'll take you out. I'll show you. And so that's kind of what almost led to the podcast, I think, because we were just doing this in general. And we love West Virginia. And so it was easy for us to tell everybody, like, yeah, we love it. We're glad you love it and you want to be here too.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it. And so we started having conversations all the time with people. And we're like, let's just make a podcast out of it.
Yeah.
We love talking about the state. We love the state. Let's, you know, and then the other reason, I think, the big reason was because the national media, at least, you know, it doesn't usually do West Virginia papers. Usually the news is always slanted negatively, I feel like, toward us. And
Reddit. West Virginia Reddit.
I meant like the real media, but social media as well. And, you know, we saw that a lot growing up, being a WVU fan, even other teams or whatever. But then they would go beyond your team, your WVU. It would be like, oh, you West Virginia hillbilly or whatever. And so I just always was defensive, about the state, even when I was young. Yeah. If I ever heard anybody say anything about the state, it would make my blood boil like that, you know, like this is my state here. Yeah. And so I felt like if we took the opportunity to tell people that are coming in all the positive stuff about the state, how could we take that a little step further? So the
Yeah.
idea behind the podcast was, let's really show how great the state is. Let's try to find all the great things, all the great people, all the great places, and
Yeah.
highlight that, and let that, try to balance a little bit some of that negativity.
Yeah.
And some people still like negativity. Some people like that. And the way I see that is, I'm like, hey, if you like negativity,
You
and
can find that
you
anywhere.
can find that anywhere. You
Click
can
off here and go down to the
anywhere.
next video. It's probably there.
Exactly. It's so easy to find. Your choices are unlimited. If you want positive, it's a little bit more limited. So that's what we're trying to be a positive voice here in the state.
I remember, like, I think the exact moment that we kind of, you were just like, I am going to do a podcast, was we were on our way home. I don't know what got you fired up, but we were on our way home from Petersburg to here, and we were going up the mountain to, I think we had crossed over into Maryland already. We had just crossed over to Maryland. We were going up like that one windy mountain that's like right before Christian Crossing. And you were going off about how people think that like all we are is drug addicted and all this stuff and blah 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 and going on and on. I'm like half listening because it's probably like 12 at midnight. And we always go home really late, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you need to tell somebody else besides me. And I was like, you just need to do a podcast or something. And you're like, I'm gonna do it. And then how we started wanting to do it together was, I was like, let's just make it like nice. Like, let's make it like,
You're going to try to balance me a little bit because you thought I was going to be militant. You're like, he's going to get on there and he's just going to like yell at everybody that has a problem with the state. Because the way that he's
yelling, I'm just like, you're just going to be yelling and being like, I'm just imagining you sitting here like this, like this. And I'm just like, how can we make it like a little bit more lighthearted and maybe like social?
Right.
But
it turns out that it was pretty easy to be lighthearted because that's just how we are in general. I feel like we're lighthearted and we goof a lot. We have fun and we have fun with it. We have fun. Yes. So we never take ourselves too seriously, and hopefully nobody else takes us too seriously either. From time to time, they can. We've seen that some people.
And we're like, you guys are either not watching our videos, you are misreading titles of videos, or
because we like to pick a little fun, and then it gets misconstrued. But you know what? I'm not mad at anybody because I get it. They're defensive because you have to be. That's how I got started doing this. You have to be defensive because they're just so used to everybody always coming at us. So when they see us make a little joke or anything, they're used to being on the defense. But the way we make jokes is like, we're part of the family. This is for the family, the West Virginia family. Yeah. We can joke about it if you're in the family. If you're not from West Virginia, you're not allowed to make a joke about it. We'll fight you for it. And I'll be there with you. I'll be there fighting them with you in that case. But it's like, but if you're inside the family, we can have a little bit of fun. Like we can pick fun. We can say, oh yeah, they're going to pop up a Dollar General here and there.
Like,
we're going down to the
cares?
Walmart.
It's it's literally just words.
It's all in good fun.
It's just words.
But let somebody outside say it.
Yeah, swear. And then it's not just
and then
words.
We're going at it.
Yeah. Then I'll have to go Logan Paul on you and beat you up.
Oh, wow.
Sponsored by Prime. Well, maybe one day.
Maybe.
Speaking of what's on our desk,
what
do you got over there?
So recently for Father's Day, I got this gift from my wife and kids.
Do you think they can see it from back here if you close up?
I don't know. We'll have to. I can put a close up, but she got me with a computer and cell phone, and that's pretty accurate. And then for the little companion, it's a rattlesnake.
I know there wasn't an alligator.
Yeah,
I couldn't have gone
it's a toss up between an alligator and a rattlesnake.
Since there wasn't an alligator, I was like, obviously.
Look, you know me so well. That's funny. This is the first I even heard you say that out loud, like that you looked for an alligator. I didn't know you looked for an alligator. Yeah. Because I was even thinking about it, and I was like, my two favorite animals, rattlesnake and alligator, and you went to look for an alligator. So you know me so well. Yeah. Those are definitely my favorite.
Their buddies were limited. I forget what they were called, but yeah, the rattlesnake was a clear choice.
And that's a pretty awesome gift. Thank you.
You're welcome. And your shirt.
Oh yeah, you got me the shirt.
Your
like a podcast shirt. It's got the microphone. That's pretty cool. You did good. You really nailed.
I tried. Nailed it really hard.
Got a new tent because we're gonna go hit the state parks.
A big old tent.
New shaving kit. I needed them.
So you're not all
cutting me up. So that's good. I want to talk a little bit about some comments. So a couple videos back, we basically said you would be willing to drive 30 minutes to do a Sheetz run to get Sheetz food because it's good gas station food. Now somebody said, hey, you're not showing any love to Tutors like they said you should have done Tudors instead of Sheetz because Sheetz is a Pennsylvania company.
The Tudors doesn't have gas.
And then, well, they did. I don't think we even said it was a gas station per se. We just said 30 minutes. If you were out in the middle of nowhere, you drive 30 minutes. Okay. And they said you didn't show Tudors enough love. So in honor of them, you know what we did? Immediately the next day, we went to our local Tudors.
We said we'll show them.
I was like, yeah, let's go there. Let's maybe crave it actually.
So well, we had time. It was an interesting day. Yeah, because you had been wanting it.
Yeah.
And
well, that made me want it.
Yeah, like that made you want it.
The comment made me want it because I was like, you know what? I do want.
Was it the next day? Actually. Was it the next day when we went? It was literally perfectly timed up that we had to do something, but there was like a 2-hour period where we had to go pick up our kids from something. Yeah. So it was like, what can we fill that? Like in the morning.
And yeah, so we never have morning
at 9
free
o'clock.
Time.
Yeah. 9 o'clock in the morning.
So we're like, let's go to Tudors, and I had to get this shirt. Okay, Tudors Biscuit World. Welcome to Biscuit Country, Morgantown, West Virginia. If you can see that. And the only thing I was disappointed when I saw the shirt, I was like, yeah, but where's the logo? I want the logo.
Because this is the back. This is the front.
Boom. There it is. Tudors Biscuit World.
They're not going to leave you high and dry on where you got your shirt from.
Absolutely.
But our youngest hadn't been there before. Well, none of our kids have been there, I don't think. So only our youngest has been there now. But I haven't been there since we lived in Barbersville. Mm-hmm. And whenever I did go, like I wasn't that much onto like biscuits and gravy very much, even though that's my great grandma's specialty that everyone kills for. But other than that, I had a little bit. I can't eat that much because of my weight loss surgery, but it was good.
It was really good. It was really good. Really good.
Shouldn't eat it.
So you know what? The next time we do a list video, we'll go Tudors. He actually said a Tudors / Geno's combo, which we don't have any really around here. I don't think a combo like that. But I said, hey, if they put one around me, I'll go to it. You bet it. You bet I will. But anyway, talking about comments though, they got a little chippy.
Uh-oh.
Our last one was a little bit controversial.
Yeah.
We said, because you had heard it somewhere. Did you see it on social media or something?
The Eastern Panhandle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I saw it exactly, so that's what made me take to Reddit.
Right. You had saw somewhere that somebody somewhere was like, hey, I don't think the Eastern Panhandle is really West Virginia.
Like we could just
like
cut
those
it
people.
Off
like, yeah, they're basically like that. They're not culturally West Virginia or whatever. Yeah. So we had never heard that before. So we were like, huh, what's that about? So you took to Reddit to investigate.
And the outrage.
And all we did was read the Reddit comments. So we weren't making any accusation or anything. We're just reading the comments.
I was like, people just explain
and we're technically from the Eastern Panhandle. I know they weren't really talking about Grant County. They were talking about Jefferson and Berkeley and Morgan County. But technically, Grant County is Eastern Panhandle, where we're from.
Well, we're a little deep. We're getting into the
So obviously, we're not trying to cut off the Eastern Panhandle. We would never even imply that. In fact, we said from the beginning, we're like, this is crazy. We're pro Eastern Panhandle.
Yeah.
But then the comments came in, and they were defensive. And again, I don't blame them because people they're so defensive. One guy really summed it up really well. He said he's from the Eastern Panhandle, and he said you constantly hear crap from people in Virginia and Maryland, and now we have to hear it from West Virginia too. The point is this: you have to be defensive. Especially him. He's saying he's getting it from Maryland. He's getting it from Virginia. He's already in defensive mode. Because as West Virginians, that's how we are. We're defensive people because we're so used to getting the crap all the time. So when you see stuff like this, you just get defensive. You're like, what are you talking about? I just want to make it clear to anybody who's still watching this episode, because I feel like a lot of people who comment probably don't even watch. So they're probably not watching now. But just to be clear, if you are watching, we never implied to cut off the Eastern Panhandle. No, and in fact, that would mess up the shape for one thing. We love our shape.
Our goal is to keep the shape at all costs.
So there was one comment that was kind of funny. This guy said he was actually the other direction. He was like, I think we should swap the Eastern Panhandle with the Panhandle of Maryland and bring them in and trade.
We do like that part of Maryland.
And I do like that part of Maryland. That's what I told him. I was like, that part of Maryland does feel like West Virginia. But not the trade part. We can't get behind that.
I'm not changing the shape.
But I thought, what would the shape even look like if that was the case? So I went on Canva and kind of did it just to see. And I might show it here.
See this.
I don't have. Actually, I can pull it up for you.
Yeah,
I have it. But it's not pretty, as you would imagine. It's not terrible, but it's not the best thing ever. Oh, there it is. See,
that's stupid.
Yeah,
nobody wants that.
It's definitely not as pretty as what we have now.
Yeah,
and that's if we traded. Mm-hmm. Now, if we kept it, it'd be a little better because
I wouldn't.
I like that hook we got there in the Panhandle.
The hook, yeah.
The hook makes it. Without the hook, it just looks weird.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely keeping those counties.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody from Pendleton County talked about how he loves Pendleton County, but feels like it's slowly dying. I don't know if it's inevitable or whether we just need new blood. And that made me sad when I read that, honestly, because
Well,
I
I
was
was
like,
kind of getting that.
I love Pendleton County too.
Yeah.
I don't want it to die. And I told him, I said, yeah, I think it's probably a mix when he says new blood, like a mix of new blood plus what makes the county great already.
Yeah.
If we can find a way to kind of merge those two ideas.
Well, that's what Annie's trying to do.
Yeah,
if you
she's
watch
doing a
that,
great job.
She is so hopeful of having people like, I guess, transplant come in and working from online using like Starlink and stuff. Like, that's her hope. And I really hope that comes to
she
fruition.
honors the people who have been there their entire lives.
Yes.
And the elder, and that's what I think it's somehow finding that mix of honoring the people that are there who have been there their whole lives.
Yeah.
And finding a way for new blood to kind of coexist and to keep moving forward.
Yeah, she's very passionate about that.
Then a lot of the comments just said yes because the title is Eastern Panhandle part of West Virginia. So they just said yes. That's the Facebook. Then this is the YouTube version. We got to give a shout out to Joshua Street. He's been watching all the videos and leaving really, really nice comments.
I'm super excited to see your trips across the state.
He's just been living very supportive comments. So shout out to Joshua because he's a real one. Mm-hmm. This guy says, I'm 72 years old and I've never heard anyone say the Eastern Panhandle is not West Virginia.
I made it to 34 and never heard that before.
Right. We just heard it for the first time. This guy, Christopher Peary, he left a nice comment as well, saying it's awesome that we show positive things. And so, yeah, love that. And I asked him because he said that they do have pepperoni rolls. And I said, okay, where? Tell us where. And he said, Sweet Shop Bakery in Shepherdstown. So
that sounds adorable.
We are going to note that down. And when we get up that way, we're going to try them out. Definitely. We got that added to the list. Yeah. We're going to see. Yeah, that's really about it. Somebody else was kind of mad. It's like, hey, I was born in Beckley, son of coal miners. Now live in Jefferson County. Don't tell me I'm not West Virginia. That he didn't mean it toward us. He's talking to the haters. Yeah. He's talking to the haters that said he's not.
Yeah. Son of a coal miner.
Although the haters would say you're West Virginia because you're from Beckley and a son of a coal miner. Not because of Jefferson. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah. So there you go. That's the mailbag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really want engagement from listeners who make it this far. I want to hear from them what they would like to see from us. Or like to hear about more about like our childhood, more about our trauma, more just I want to know. I want to know what people are interested in, you know?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let us know. Definitely. Let us know. Yeah, we're kind of figuring it out.
I was about to say this is a baby channel, but what's a newborn channel is Almost Heaven, Always Us Adventures, which is our family vlog channel. Now has 2 videos. Last Monday, the 16th, we uploaded our second video of our trip to Blackwater Falls. And Corey does all the editing for this podcast, all of it. I could never. I do the editing for the little baby vlog channel right now.
And you do a great job. I think I should just promote you and let you do all the editing.
No, I don't know how to do everything that you do. I'm trying my best. But anyway, I like doing it. So if you could go give it a follow, we would greatly appreciate that. Say, the pod sent me.
Joshua did. And he said the pod sent him. So another shout out to
Joshua. Oh, we need to meet this guy.
Yeah, he's I think he's down in the southern part.
Yeah.
So he's gonna like the next episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next week we're going down to southern West Virginia, all the way to southern.
I'm nervous.
I mean, talking a mile from the Virginia border.
Yes.
Southern West Virginia, which is pretty far for us.
It's exciting.
So we're excited. It's gonna be a really, really fun time.
Yeah.
We're not gonna talk about it too much yet because that'll be next week's. But stay tuned and see that, and go watch the Blackwater Falls trip. That was really fun. Mm-hmm. We got to see a couple of 3 falls there, and the Pendleton
just
Overlook.
Being silly and goofing and stuff. It
was a beautiful weekend to do it, and a beautiful sight to see all around.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Give us a like, a follow, share this with any of your other West Virginia loving fans. Follow us on Facebook, on our Instagram. That's kind of dead right now, but I'll probably pick it back up at some point.
Yeah.
I'm a busy woman.
YouTube.
We're busy. Yeah, YouTube, of course.
And we're on all the Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. YouTube, I think, is our favorite because we like the video part of it.
We're YouTube people.
Yeah. But anyway, if you love West Virginia as much as we love West Virginia, and I hope we've proven that tonight. I hope that this episode.
And I don't want to hear any more of this doubting us.
Don't doubt us, all right? Don't ever question our love for West Virginia. Because there's no question there. There should be no. This is our life. We live to love West Virginia. This podcast is a love letter to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Never doubt it. And so hopefully we were able to shed a little bit of light on how we got to where we got to in West Virginia, our West Virginia travels, how we got to this podcast, why we love the state. We never have doubted it for a minute. Even when we opened that job search up when we were in Huntington, we did a statewide search. It was statewide. It was contained in West Virginia. We were always West Virginia, born and bred, always going to be that way. The only place that ever could have pulled us was Florida.
Yeah.
Because of the gators. I love alligators. That's a joke, though.
Yeah.
We do like to vacation there.
There's a crocodile in Deep Creek Lake.
That's what Facebook says.
Someone sent me, and my mom sent me a video of
but
that.
She knew it was a joke.
I hope.
Flaming your mom like that. Come on.
Anyways.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.